I'm a little out of practice these days. Any conflicts around? I'm in the mood. Peacemaking.
Nothing lasts forever.
Cast your worries to the wind!
All hail! No touching! Enhanced animal module 75! Emerge. Show them. Access denied. Come on out. Show them.
Bad dreams be gone!
Come on out. Show them. For Rex Lapis!
Sweet dreams!
Come on out. A sight to behold. Swirl, Mark II! Born of icy frost. Show them. Come on out.
Turn that frap.
I'm always watching.
Cast your worries to the wind! Time to...
Animal hypostasis emulation! This is long overdue. No touching. Right now, emerge. Access denied. All hail.
Bad dreams be gone! Sweet dreams! Ah!
Animal test 6308. Enhanced animal mod. Right now, right here. A sight to behold.
Off to the freezer!
Stand clear! Animal hypostasis emulation! Don't be scared! My guiding stars!
Out of my way! A little amuse-bouche!
Animal Animal test 63. Swirl, Mark 2. Not now. Cold. 9-second.
Adaptive frosting! Boost on the loose!
Our bond is strong. Lightning terrified. Overdue. Born of ice and frost, I'm always watching.
Cast your worries to the wind! Ha! Locked on! Open fire! Open fire!
Hold on to your hats.
No touching.
Turn that frown upside down. Let's fly! Bullseye! Locked on! Bullseye! Bullseye!
Knock 'em down.
Show them. Emerge.
Yachan, Taechan, let's go!
I'll think about it. There'll be an extra fee for that.
I'd have lost myself long ago if I allowed myself to be led by the whispers of the abyss.
There'll be an extra
Surviving is tough, but taming the beast within is tougher.
All tasks have been handed out. How as I gaze out upon the sea.
Who's that?
This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Farina, right over there. She really...
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Farina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry, but what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless apologies over and over? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina, it's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that mob of my ignorant subjects.
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your...
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbing my They even dare to tout their Archon! I must teach them a lesson. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marish Chaussee Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too. Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the... That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up with her! This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here! Quick, come to Paimon!
What? What is this place?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine, fine. I suppose haste is warranted. Lead the way.
Paimon's exhausted.
I'm so tired. I totally thought they had caught me. No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground's shaking. Is it an earthquake?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency plans, so the evacuation should go...
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Teyvat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. anything to keep the coastline from advancing, but all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for a very long time. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heaven... Give up, indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart, but just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate on behalf of everyone else. As long as the final moment hasn't come, it's still not too late, don't worry. I will keep hope alive for everyone until the very end. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good fit at all. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be a witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, if that's the...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our...
So, this is what it is. Yes, you do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the...
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Well,
How utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is you are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I too am But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice. This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and, mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're making history!
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crimes? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this serious.
All right, then. Who will...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat, my accuser and fated opponent. Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins, just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to the people's resentment against their Archon has been building as... Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson. So, we arranged for a second group.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box.
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Areneas. Was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location.
So, in other words, the earthquake...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch.
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist and... As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived on... Oh? So, then I suppose I must... It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the exclusive interview that she did with us before? So she's already finished it. Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened ever since we stepped foot in Fontaine! So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument! Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. This is the I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. I guess you could also see this as a happy coincidence. This is the first time Monsieur Neuvillette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro Archon can't figure it out. A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must mean something. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. That I didn't witness that scene personally will always be a source of professional regret, I think. According to Monsieur Neuvillette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial sea at that time. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervy. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead, of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could...
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going to...
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me if you wish to drop the case.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
doesn't sound... First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a
curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Neverlet sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina is... Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell you...
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped at. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the indemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstance. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't...
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really... It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses.
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens...
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to...
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into indemnitium. Thus did I give up all of my divine
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. I'm still the same for please.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has come.
Did she deceive all of us? Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up.
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now? That doesn't... It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the...
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone, including those of some of my close... So, Miss Farina, would you, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydra, but if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you, I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the
Navia from the Spina di Rasula.
If Lady Farina...
Lady Farina, this test...
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But
she's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really does seem like...
What's going on? Is she really planning to... that's not...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina.
What?
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now?
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and...
Siegewin?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few... That should be...
Please announce the results of your...
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved!
Well, considering, however, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance, we don't want...
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used.
I can't... Listen to me, everyone. Think about it. Also, if I was really just a human, why
Archon, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charge. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: the Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice?
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth. How did things escalate?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentence, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Mache wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume this means...
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top priority.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water. But has the trial already concluded? Then... doesn't that...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and
Huh? So what do you see? What is...
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydroarch. So when you say Hydroarchon, do you—
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydroarchon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydroarchon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydroarchon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydroarchon sin are the same thing? The third slate shows the Hydroarchon seeking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydroarchon crying on her throne, and so we didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontainians can be dissolved in primordial seawater, and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydroarchon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontainians can dissolve.
That doesn't sound quite right. That doesn't...
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydroarchon that Nervalette mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates. It's not as simple as falling into the sea. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydroarchon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing? The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontainians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater. The Hydroarchon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her dead. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about. The stone slate's content can all be verified. Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! you could. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine... Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a... When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within.
Well? Did you get...
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of... Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority to not one to give in. She eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history.
So you...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating...
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but it...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the 3rd and 4th stone slates was inaccurate. A key point of the visual on the 3rd slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans, rather than they have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems, we're the ones making sure it comes true.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled. Is this what it—
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes? However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sun. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanid.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could...
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some...
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy... Yes. What has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners, where the gods' gaze does not fall? Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future. All you... What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to... And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the... So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving... I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, after becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way, the person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon, alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, Her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.